Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be renovating the Daytona track that I have had since season number 4. We're going to be turning it into a banked track with all the new details that Daytona has. But first off, we got to start off by recycling the old track here. We're going to be taking off the walls of the old Daytona that I used to use, but used it for 2 seasons. Now it's going to be repurposed into making a new iconic Daytona model for this series. You see, of course, ripping up the walls from the styrofoam board. And then soon after we are done ripping up these walls, they are not going to be reused, unfortunately, as ripping them up does destroy them quite a bit. And we want a new, fresh, clean look for our new Daytona. Plus, the old walls were a bit too high for my liking. And now that we have the board all flipped over and now that we have a fresh canvas to work on, we're going to go ahead and start sketching the outline of the track. Obviously, what I usually do is I usually start off with the backstretch to make sure that I can get a nice straight line going. And then right after that, that is when I will begin to work on the front stretch of the track. I will start measuring out the length of the board or surface or whatever I am using for the track, and I find the center and leave a little mark there for the start finish line. Using a tape measurer here to find that center, since the yardstick is just a bit too short. But as you can see here, found the center, and going to go ahead and leave a mark there with the pencil. That way we know that it is going to be correctly shaped and centered. And soon after we find that center, we're going to go ahead and start sketching out the front part of the the middle part of the front stretch where the start-finish line will lay. That way we can make sure that everything is correct and properly proportioned in order to make the track look as good as we can. And then we're going to go ahead here and take some cars out, and we're going to start actually doing a rough sketch of the track. I've said this plenty of times, but recent tracks that I have made have been 4 cars wide, door to door, all pushed together. Enough room to where 3 wide can work with a fourth lane being there as well for any lap cars or cars that get stuck in the lane where there is no drafting partners at all. Finishing up the tri-oval sketch here. You don't have to put too much detail into this sketch, especially if you're doing banking, as most of the sketch will already be sanded down and gone with the styrofoam and banking. But right now we're just getting the shape of the track set. That way we know where the foam and the banking will lay. So as we sketch out the turns and the rest of the track, we're going to go ahead and get out the styrofoam. We're going to start off with the front stretch. The front stretch tri-oval will have banking on this track, so that is good to have. We're going to go ahead and shape this piece of styrofoam for the front stretch. Going to make sure that it lines up with the sketch that we had made previously. And for the apron, we're going to make sure that the sketch is right up against the driver's side doors of the cars that we have. And for the other side of the cars, we're going to go ahead and leave a bit of extra room. That way we can have some room to work with the banking once we have it all carved out. And now we're going to go ahead and cut the styrofoam block into shape. That way we can have it glued down properly, and we'll have the right shape to cut and sand down once we get to it. Now on to a very important step when it comes to making banking. You want to glue down the piece of styrofoam that you are going to shave down into the banked surface that we will be planning to have. So of course we're going to be taking our tacky glue, the same kind of glue that I use to put down my walls or make sure that the cars are stuck together when I do my damaged die cast. But either way, now we're going to go outside and we're going to go ahead and start carving out this styrofoam. We're going to go ahead and use an X-Acto knife at first. This is the method that I use. So what I would do first is I would carve up some pieces of the styrofoam with the X-Acto knife to go ahead and expose that inside of the styrofoam in order to make sure that the sandpaper can grind through the styrofoam a lot more efficient and a lot faster. Going ahead and cutting up more pieces here and there. At first I started to mainly use the X-Acto knife, and the same thing was done at Iowa, but now you can see here I am using sandpaper to sand down the rest of the banking and to carve it out as well. This turned to be a lot more efficient than to solely use the X-Acto knife, and even though it proved a bit more messy, it was a lot easier to clean up, actually, because using a vacuum to get all of the styrofoam out of the way was a lot easier than having to pick up chunks of styrofoam over and over and over again. So adding a bit of finishing touches here with the X-Acto knife, and then we come back in with the sandpaper to continue on with the cutting. Yeah, you can be very, very efficient with the sandpaper if you can find a way to use it correctly. Although I would recommend finding a good method to hold the sandpaper, because I did end up bruising my thumb, and actually I might have even cut it at some point. But moving on to the drywall mud, this is where the surface of the track fully comes into play. For Iowa and for the first 2 layers of the sheetrock mud that I did for Daytona, I used a paint scraper, which you do not want to use for sheetrock mud. You want to use a putty knife, which is a lot more flexible than a metal paint scraper, and it allows for a lot smoother layer of the sheetrock mud in order to, decrease your chances of getting all of those potholes or creases or whatever. And now, for every single layer that I did with the sheetrock mud, once it was all dry, I went ahead and sanded each layer down whenever it was done. That way I would have a smoother surface to apply the next layer of sheetrock mud on. You don't have to do this, it is not a requirement, but it is just what I did because it just felt more comfortable doing it that way. And if you were like me and you were making this track in the middle of spring or summertime, then the drywall mud will most likely have dried twice as fast as it normally would have. So I was able to do multiple coats a day, 2 exactly. But now we come to the part where the track starts to become a actual racetrack. This is where the paint comes into play. Now I'm going to be using the exact same method that I have for every other track that I have made with these kinds of videos, and that is a mix of grays, blacks, and a tan or brown or something like that to play in as a sort of oil substance to dirty the track or make it look used and older as it would if you were to just use a flat gray or a flat gray mixed in with some black. So it does add that little bit of detail to the track and makes it look a lot more realistic and actually really pulls the track together entirely. And now we find the time to get some grass onto this track. Now, like I said earlier, I made this track not too long ago, and as I am recording this audio, it is nearly summertime here, so it is very hot outside, so any paint or drywall mud will dry up really fast. But either way, painting, or not painting, placing down the grass mat. You can find this grass mat at Hobby Lobby and I believe Michael's, but I would recommend you get it at Hobby Lobby, as you can get it in bulk, and it is very, very useful. So obviously cutting and shaping down the piece of grass mat to fit the proper size and shape. And then we're going to go ahead and glue it down with that tacky glue that we use to put down the walls and the styrofoam for the banking. And now we're going to go ahead and start detailing the track. You can see I already put down most of pit road and the double yellow line around the track. But as you see here, adding the little orange lines to pit road that they usually do have in real life. And then the choose rule, one of the most important details of a NASCAR track nowadays is the choose rule, adding this on with a paint marker. Tracks that I've made in the past, I actually had drawn the choose cone on a piece of paper with a couple markers and then cut that out and then glued it on with a glue stick. Now obviously the methods have changed, and now I'm using the paint markers to draw on the choose rules and all that. But moving on now to the track logos. Of course, one of the main things that really makes a track look alive, honestly, is just having logos around the place. A lot of tracks in Season 4 didn't really have a whole lot of logos around, but that was mainly because I just didn't have access to a printer. But, and I still don't really have access to a personal printer, but I do have access to Office Max, and that is a lifesaver when it comes to printing out logos. But I used the glue stick to put down the logos on the grass and all that, and I used tacky glue, of course, to put down the styrofoam walls at or on the track. And you can find this type of styrofoam at nearly any craft store. You can find it at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. You can get it at Walmart for like $2 for like a pack of two, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not being completely wrong on that, but for the transitions for the walls between the flat surface and the banking, I went ahead and used some heavy objects to hold down the walls to make sure that they stay there correctly and they glue properly. And now we're going to be adding on one of my favorite parts of the track is adding on logos to the wall. It just really brings this track out and honestly makes the walls feel a lot more full, obviously, and it doesn't really feel as empty as it would if we were to just leave it blank. So not only will we be adding the track logos there, but we will also be adding some sponsorship as well. And yeah, so that basically completes the video. And now let's go ahead and get some B-roll. So that's going to do it for today's video, and I'm sorry for the people that saw the community post before this video got released. No, this is not a video about Season 6, and I just do want to touch on Season 6 here real quick. It will definitely be a while because I am definitely going to be taking a short break from stop motion as of right now. I have done the math about it, and I have filmed 37 races within the past 2 years. So I really do need to take a break from this. I am definitely going to still have some fun making tracks for the season and a couple other videos as well, but hopefully you guys do understand that I do need a slight break from this stop motion hobby for now. But I'll still be making tracks and all kinds of other videos. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this track video. I really hope it was informative for you guys. If you guys want to see a more detailed version, go ahead and check out my Iowa video. And hopefully you guys did enjoy this. And I'll see you guys in the next one.